it is very apparent that we are spending more than we make.
That we broke.
So we can't make a cash reserve, and we can't even start dreaming. We've got to figure out how to get back to a balanced budget.
The budget helps us keep things in line. It holds us accountable for what we're doing.
If people are living within their means, they have a roadmap, they're saving, they're tithing, that they then feel empowered and at peace, and their marriage improves.
Yeah. Emily, I kind of need some Botox. I need Botox, and that's got to be on my budget.
It's got to be in your budget. You will never achieve financial freedom if you continue living in such a way where you spend more than you make. I'm Emily Stroud. Most importantly, I'm a wife and mom. I'm also a financial advisor, and for more than 25 years, I've had the privilege of walking alongside people, helping them make wise financial decisions. I wish everyone who needs encouragement today could come over to my house, and I'd share the same lessons I've seen transform lives, principles I wrote about in my best-selling book, Faithful Finance. That's why I also created the Faithful Finance podcast. I sit down with my dear friend, Alison Gengelbach, and together we unpack practical, faith-filled ways to manage money and find true peace in your financial journey. So friend, please pull up a chair, make yourself at home, and join us as we share the time-tested secrets of faithful finance. Welcome to the Faithful Finance Podcast. My name is Emily Stroud, and I want to welcome you to my home. I'm here with my dear friend, Alison Gengelbach. Thank you for being here
Glad
today.
to be here, Emily.
We just want to talk about finances today. We want to take intimidating topics and break them down for you. We want to give you practical, useful information and no shame. Your financial past, it does not have to define you, and your financial future does not have to be scary. So we've talked about the secrets, and the first one was to seek wise counsel, have a professional manage your money so you don't have to worry about it. And today we're going to talk about the first practical step, which is actually a budget.
Well, in your book, Faithful Finance, which is best-selling book, so incredibly helpful, you share 10 powerful secrets that help us move into that area of just feeling a lot more comfortable about our budget. And in the second chapter today, we're going to talk about building up your cash reserve and creating a budget.
This is biblical. I didn't come up with this idea. It's talked about in Proverbs. Proverbs 21:5 says that the plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty.
Haste leads to poverty.
Exactly. So if we're hastily spending our money and we don't...
If we're pulling over at the mall when we pass and impulsively...
Yeah, that retail therapy without any plan.
Yes, right.
That's haste. And honestly, we need a roadmap. We need a budget, and that's what is so important. People do not like to talk about a budget.
Well, we don't, because it seems overwhelming. It seems very intimidating. I mean, I can kind of put a little something together, but it's not holistic. It doesn't show the whole entire picture. So break it down for us. How do we even start with a budget?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because I get this objection all the time.
Yeah.
People think it's punishment, like I'm putting them in time out, or mama's coming to see how they're spending their money. And the reality is, it has nothing to do with me. I don't really need to audit your finances. What I want for you is, I want you to know how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. And so the biggest objection is, I don't even know where to start.
Yes, it's
so
real.
What I did is I created a free budget worksheet that you can go to faithfulfinance.com, click on free resources, and you can download my budget worksheet. If you put your email address into the site, I will personally send you a copy. And therefore you have a roadmap. You have a template. All you got to do is fill in the blanks and add and subtract. And it's kind of funny because
it's alarming.
It's alarming because most of us, if we're honest, and that's the other key, you got to be honest.
Yes.
And if you're married, I really love for couples to sit down and work on the budget together. But it's a great...
Do you? It's like...
I know, it sounds
But
cringy.
you need to, right?
Well, that's the only way to open up doors of communication with your spouse if you're married, because you're both spending money differently and it allows you to communicate. I like couples to have one budget item on the worksheet where it's your miscellaneous spending money and my miscellaneous spending money. So you have a budget for $250 is your fun money. And if you're not including miscellaneous expenses in a category for that, then realistically,
that's what gets you.
You're not going to follow that budget.
Not.
You have to have a cushion in there.
You do have to have a cushion, because as I was working through our budget, it's like I feel like more goes out than actually comes in. And it's. Do you have a cure for that?
I wish I did. Got to make more money, spend less money.
I got to make more. I have to make more.
You're going to have to get a side hustle.
I'm going to have to get a side hustle. All right. Well, in your book, you actually provide it. So let's talk through this budget.
Okay.
Can we look at this?
Sure. And this budget worksheet, as I said, is also available on the website, or you can get a copy in the book as well.
It's so good. So you start with housing, like practical things.
Well,
you got to have your mortgage, your rent.
But you also got to remember there's lawn maintenance, and you need a category for home repairs, because the reality is something is going to break.
You need a category, folks, for waste removal. How much are we spending on waste removal?
Who even knows?
Who even knows?
But if you look at your bills, you can find out.
You can.
Yeah.
I hope
Electricity.
Electricity. Supplies or decorations.
Yes, if you are like some of us who will remain nameless and you like to decorate for the holidays.
You put that under housing.
Yeah. Well, home decor.
Home decor. Food, of course. Groceries. Do you know what kills us?
Eating out.
Dining out. And now ordering.
Yes.
This click of the button, and I can
DoorDash.
have food at my table. This is awful. You even have a whole section here on pets.
Yeah. How much?
Do you
how much
spend
do
on
we
her?
spend on your dog food every month?
How much, Penny? It's a lot. I'm sure.
And she likes to have a good groom every now and then. Girl's got to have her hair done.
Girl's got to have her. Listen, and her nails done. Grooming costs so much more than I thought it would.
That is such a racket.
It is a racket.
We should get one of those trucks and just drive around and do people's dogs.
I'm telling you, that's where the money is.
I'm telling you.
Or get a dog that doesn't necessarily have to be groomed, that you can just take out in the backyard and hose down. Just spray off. But our dogs, my dog,
they're high maintenance.
I know, sort of like their moms.
Who would've thought?
Entertainment is another biggie. Children is probably one of the biggest categories for us.
Well, that is real. School supplies. We just got through purchasing school supplies.
That's like
that
a home
list they
payment on a
send
home.
you.
I know.
Good gracious.
I know.
42 folders and every type of pen and pencil and marker. And
so really at the beginning of the year, as you're looking at your budget throughout the year, should you account for school supplies in August?
I mean, I personally spent $200 or $300 on school supplies. So if I don't have a line item, that could be a miscellaneous expense for the month of August. Mm-hmm. But if I don't have a line item for those types of expenses, then yes, you're going to go over your monthly budget, one expense at a time.
As you develop your budget, should it all kind of whittle down to zero at the end?
Well, ideally, you want to have discretionary income, which is a fancy word for you want to spend less than you make, because you cannot achieve financial freedom. Number one, if you're always spending more than you make, you're going to go into debt. Mm-hmm. But number two, the first savings goal is a cash reserve, because if you have no savings, you are one flat tire, unforeseen medical bill, crisis, etc., away from becoming bankrupt. And so if you have a cash reserve, then those unforeseen crises in life that are going to happen, you at least have the financial means to handle them.
Do you put that all in your budget?
Well, yes. And honestly, I want you to pay yourself first. So as part of your budget, after you've decided how much money you have left over at the end of the month, let's say it's $200, then I want you to pay yourself $200 at the beginning of the month. automate your savings, because if we wait till the end of the month,
You will never pay yourself.
and you're going to spend that
You
money.
will never tithe.
No, and that's another one that I want you to include in your budget. I believe that tithing is an act of worship, and I believe it's biblical, and I believe God wants us to give of our resources, and not from what's left over either. So that's also something that I want you to include in your budget is tithing.
Is tithing.
And so
tithing off the top, and we're going to talk about that in a podcast.
Yes.
We're going to
the rules of giving and
dive into
not
that.
getting bogged down in the rules.
Right. The credit card section, the loans, the debt, Emily. How do you that's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. And once again, that's another reason why I like people to sit down with wise counsel and go through all of that. But if you don't have your credit card, your monthly bill in your budget, then you're going to have debt. And another thing is, I'm not saying credit cards are bad, because there's a lot of perks for having a credit card. You get a good credit score. You get airline miles. I like to travel, and I use my airline points for that. But if you don't include everything that you spend money on using your credit card in the monthly budget, that's a huge red flag. That's how people really get into trouble. So they account for the big stuff, electricity, etc., but then they don't have all the Starbucks and the Amazon and the Target.
Their credit card bill.
Yeah. So the credit card is a tool of how you pay for stuff, but you can't ignore what you're paying for with the credit card. And so this is so slippery now with Apple Pay. We don't even have to pull out a credit card now. We just take our cell phone and just tap something.
It's so easy. And I don't ever have cash, really.
Nobody pays cash anymore. And there is something to the emotional attachment to cash. It's a lot easier to give a credit card and swipe your phone than it is to give up $20. I don't know about you, but I'll keep $20 in my wallet.
It's like gold. It's like forever.
I'll just use my credit card. I want to make sure I have my cash in case.
So if you're paying only in cash, do you just carry around wads of cash?
It would be a practical exercise to do it for maybe 1 month and just to get a feel for what you're actually spending money on.
But the budget helps us keep things in line. It helps us it holds us accountable for what we're doing.
Exactly. And it's also that communication tool if you are married with your spouse. And so there's a lot of reasons why you need a budget, but you don't have a roadmap if you don't have a budget. Once you have a budget, we can figure out, are you spending more than you're making? If so, where are we spending more? Where can we cut back? And then we can figure out how much can we save, and then how much do we need to save? But that budget worksheet is so crucial.
How much do you need to save?
I recommend, if your job is stable and you feel like you have job security, that 3 months of living expenses in cash is a proper financial cushion.
Okay.
And I want to reiterate that I said 3 months of living expenses, not 3 months of income. And the difference is interesting. So let's say you've gone through your budget worksheet. Once again, you need to do the budget or you can't figure out how much you need for a cash reserve. And you figure out that your family's fixed expenses are $5,000 a month. Okay? That's not how much you make. That's how much it costs you to live.
Okay.
So you need a cash reserve of 3 months. So 3 times $5,000 is $15,000. So that might seem kind of daunting. But if you have 3 months of living expenses saved up in cash, then you can weather a lot of financial storms without so much stress and anxiety. And if you're living within your means because you've done this budget and you have a proper cash reserve, well, then the fun starts. We've taken the fear and the anxiety out of this equation and we can start dreaming. Okay, now I want to save for a house.
Now
I want to
take
save
a vacation.
for a vacation. I love to have a vacation fund in the budget because that's another way that a lot of people will go over their budget is they they only go on vacation once or twice a year. So they don't have it in their regular monthly budget. So a really cool idea is to have a vacation fund. So you put in your budget, okay, I'm going to save $200 a month for my vacation fund. So then when it's time to go to Disney World, which is so expensive.
So expensive.
But $2,400 is what we can spend. So then you can look and go, okay, where can I afford to go for $2,400? I can go on my vacation with no guilt because I saved and I planned.
Because you thought ahead.
And I'm paying cash for it.
What about like Christmas?
Christmas is another one. When I was at the bank, we talked about repo Santa a lot.
What?
Santa's not a good... Repo Santa's the bad Santa.
Bad Santa? What?
He comes for the gifts and the loot that you didn't put in your budget that you can't afford to pay for. He comes in January.
I don't want...
You don't want repo
I don't
Santa.
want repo Santa knocking on my door.
Yeah.
But you know what? When you have those little eyeballs looking up at you and they're like Santa, it is, how can you...
But that is the pinnacle of impulse spending and consumerism.
Well, the jingle bells are jingling and everybody's singing and it's that time and you feel guilty and you got to... And we lose our ever-loving minds.
Well, and we've really gotten away from the real meaning of Christmas.
It's so stupid.
It is really out of control. And it's supposed to be so magical. And Christmas is beautiful, but the consumerism has really...
It's toxic.
Gotten toxic.
It has. It's like we need to get back to frankincense, gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
What do you do with myrrh?
Okay, I'm not sure. But my friend said that they give their children 3 little gifts every Christmas, just like gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
I love that.
See, but you got to start that.
I heard once that a family gave something you need, something to read, and something you want.
Okay.
And I thought that was neat.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that rule. Yeah,
something you need, something
I've
you
blown
read.
that. I've blown that. But I do love the idea of saving for it all year long because then it takes the stress out of the holidays, which are extremely stressful.
And I want to talk about, so more often than not, after people have gone through this exercise to create a budget, they ask me, they're like, Emily, it is very apparent that we are spending more than we make.
That we broke.
So we can't make a cash reserve and we can't even start dreaming. We've got to figure out how to get back to a balanced budget. And so let's talk about that.
How do you do that? That requires discipline.
Well,
it requires an awareness first.
It requires an awareness. And so one thing you can do is look at the expenses that you can negotiate. For example, I use this thing called Energy Ogre now. He's this little green elf.
What is that?
He goes out and he shops for electricity rates. It's a website, but he literally looks like a little green elf.
Is this across the United States?
Yeah, Energy Ogre. I pay $10 a month, and every month that company is going out and negotiating my watts per hour and price by hour.
That's brilliant.
I'm constantly changing my electricity provider.
EnergyOgre.com.
Yeah, at $10 a month as a subscription. But you save a fortune because now electricity is unregulated. And so that's something, it does not affect my quality of life. Who's providing the electricity? I just
want
need
the
it.
lights on.
I just want the lights on.
Can you tell it's made a difference?
I can. My electricity bills are lower. Another one is to shop for bundling with your cell phone, that sort of thing.
Gosh, yeah.
Groceries, an audit of that is really big. Dining out, instead of making that like a regular thing, let's normalize that it's a treat for Friday night only, and we eat at home more, and that's healthy. It's healthy to have.
It's so much better, and it's good for your family.
It's good for your family to sit down and be around the table. There's something so wonderful about everybody knowing at the end of the day we're all together. We can download our day. There's so many studies about children that grew up eating dinner
together as a
family and what a difference that makes in your life. And so I've always really tried to do that. Now I will admit, some nights it was McDonald's that we were eating around the table.
We lived down the street from Hardee's. Ooh. Do you remember Hardee's?
Yeah.
Like that was like legit. I would go get that fried fish sandwich thing.
I
know.
That doesn't sound good at all.
What was that?
What's better than fish? Fried fish.
Why was that my choice? I don't know. But I loved it. It had like this creepy mayonnaise and cheese. It was just, I'm sure it was a million calories. But when we did that, we would even take that home and eat.
Yeah,
as
we
a
would still
family.
eat around the table. And so
You have to maximize what you're, but with the sports thing, I mean, we've got football 3 nights a
I
week
know,
right
it's so
now.
hard.
It is so hard, and it is so tempting to pull into that drive-through and to grab and go and to save money and to take food with you or prepare ahead or keep leftovers. You have to
I
think
love
about it, and you have
leftovers.
to plan.
this is hard for me. I love leftovers, but my family doesn't
Hates
like
them.
them.
A lot of people don't do leftovers.
And so I'm like, but we can have 2 meals out of this taco meat. You can have tacos one night and quesadilla the next.
It's
and
right.
they're like, it's the same meat. I'm like, but it's served differently.
Yeah, you're dressing it up with a different bow on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are all compromises that if you really want to get out of debt and you want to have more money coming in than going
The
out.
number one is spend less.
Spend less.
The other option is work more. And so, gosh,
I feel like everybody's working.
how are we going to do that? So really, it's a side hustle if you already have a job, My husband sells, he's a reseller.
He is a reseller.
Did you know that?
He is.
Yeah.
He's
It's kind of weird, but
no,
he does.
it's kind of wonderful.
He lives at the Goodwill. Like, he loves the Goodwill. He's actually a pediatric dentist. I don't want to discredit him, but he loves the Goodwill. And so he's there all the time.
and he resells this
And he
stuff.
resells stuff, and he has taught my son how to be a reseller so that because as long as you can sell something, you can make a living.
You can.
So we're teaching him how to sell stuff, and you got to buy low, sell high. So there's so many life lessons. I'm so proud of him for teaching our son this, but they spend a lot of time figuring out,
Finding the gems,
finding
and
the
reselling them.
things that people want. What is a good buy? What is not a good buy? Like what if I can buy it for $5, can I sell it for $10? Because if I buy it for $5 and I still sell it for $5, then that's a waste of our time
Right,
and energy
and money. Yeah.
So, but anyway, you can find them at TNT Flips on the YouTube. I'll give them a little shout out
Shout out.
on the YouTube.
And they sell tennis shoes,
They sell tennis
major
shoes.
tennis shoes. If y'all need a real swanky pair of kicks, like they do the big stuff too.
They call it kicks, lids, and other cool things.
Yeah.
Kicks is
No,
shoes.
it's amazing. And to see your shoe closet of all the tennis shoes that y'all have accumulated, it's awe inspiring.
But you got to have a side hustle or work more or pick up overtime hours. And that's hard. But the reality is, if you really want to do this, you might have to make some sacrifices.
You
got to
do.
spend less, work more. Ideally, you're doing both until you get that budget to the point where you definitely have discretionary income. You will never achieve financial freedom. And hear me say this now, you will never achieve financial freedom if you continue living in such a way where you spend more than you make. So the 2 sides of the equation, you got to work more, make more, or spend less, or some combination of the 2 until it works out.
What if you cannot agree on a budget
With your spouse?
With your spouse. So what if you come down and you literally cannot agree on things? I mean, it's going to take some compromise. Because Emily, I kind of need some Botox. I need Botox, and that's got to be on my budget.
It's got to be in your budget. And if I've got good news for you.
What's that, Emily?
If it's in your budget and you can afford it and you're still saving and you're still tithing, then you tell Brandon you can get that Botox.
Okay.
Not that you need it.
Well, let's talk about that. I do need it.
Oh, I don't
Brandon
think so.
says it's a want, not a need.
Well, we'll talk to him offline.
You're going
I'll have to bring that home.
you're gonna have to
That's
lay
where the
some
marriage
groundwork.
counselor comes in.
I'm gonna need you to make a personal phone call.
Listen here, buddy. 51 ain't easy.
51 ain't
There's a lot of
easy.
maintenance.
I mean, there's a lot of maintenance. And then more maintenance. Maintenance is a lot.
Just when I think it can't get any worse.
But you know what? He has his things too, Emily. He's a cyclist. He does all this
Yeah,
biking.
he spends a lot of money on that
You talk
bicycle.
about an expense. But those are his hobbies. And we
And that's
need
just
to
it.
account for those hobbies as well in our budget.
And honestly, all joking aside, it is so healthy for you to have a pot of money every month that you get to choose how you spend. I don't recommend that spouses have separate checking accounts because you are married, and the reality is your money is married.
Don't a lot of couples have separate?
Well, and that's when there really is a disconnect. And so I do not advise having separate accounts.
Okay.
So your money is one account. I think it should be in one account, but you also both need a spending budget that you get to decide. Honestly, I want to go have lunch with my girlfriends. I want to get my nails done. But you know what? I want those things, so I'm not going to go shopping at Target. But you know how much you can spend. And that is a great way to take arguing out of this equation.
Yes.
Because
again, the boundaries, you know
your boundaries.
Yeah, you know where
Children
you can
need
go.
boundaries.
Yes.
Puppies need boundaries.
And we need boundaries.
And we need boundaries. And the reality is, I have seen this so often. Did you know that the number one reason that couples actually argue and divorce is over money?
I don't doubt that.
And so having a budget is the first tool to improve in communication. And I have often found that if people are living within their means, they have a roadmap, they're saving, they're tithing, that they then feel empowered and at peace, and their marriage improves.
Yeah.
And that trickles down to their kids. The kids feel at peace because mom and dad are at peace.
Yeah.
And so this is monumental for people.
It is a game changer.
It is a game changer.
You truly can have financial peace, but it doesn't come through osmosis. Like
Well,
you have to prepare and plan and talk.
Yes. And so my battle cry today is let's be proactive with our money. Let's go ahead and stop procrastinating. If you've never had a budget and you don't know what you're spending, today is the day. Go to that website, faithfulfinance.com, download that free resource, and just sit down with yourself. If you're single, if you're married, sit down with your spouse and start getting a handle on where your money's going and how much is coming in.
And get the budget today on faithfulfinance.com. You're giving it away for free.
I give it away for free. You have absolutely no objection. And then you can start moving forward because as I've said many times, your financial past does not have to define you.
Amen.
And your financial future does not have to be scary.
Amen. Where can we find you?
Well, we are on YouTube. Please subscribe to Faithful Finance Live. You can listen in as well to anywhere that you normally listen to your podcast. And then, of course, my website, faithfulfinance.com. You can also find the information in this book, Faithful Finance. It's still available for sale. And so my heart and my passion is to get this information into your hands wherever you are. If you're driving down the road, if you're stuck in traffic, if you're in the carpool lane, we want to meet you right where we are because we want you to live without fear and anxiety as it relates to your finances.
Amen.
Thanks again for being here today, and we'll see you next time. Here are the key takeaways from today's episode. A budget is clarity, not restriction. Couples should create the budget together to reduce conflict. Aim for discretionary income plus 3 months of living expenses saved. Pay yourself first. Automate savings. You can't reach financial freedom if you spend more than you earn. This has been Faithful Finance, the podcast, hosted by Emily Stroud and Alison Gengelbach. Produced by Great Light Creative. Recorded in Fort Worth, Texas. Executive produced by Emily Graham Stroud. Makeup by Heather Spivey. Additional production support by Andy Emery and Parker Connell. Additional moral support provided by Penny. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. Rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts. Learn more by visiting faithfulfinance.com. Thanks for listening.